Record? See, this is why I need a new laptop. We're recording. Okay, good. All right. What's up, guys? It's your boy Steve on the NDO Podcast. Today I have one of the top trainers, Divya Rao. He's based in Canada. Trains a lot of pros, a lot of top high school players there in Canada and in the U.S. And I wanted to get him on here just because of his experience and, his story. It's definitely going to be interesting to hear. And, what's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Cool, man. No doubt. So, basically, what I do is on the NDO podcast, I just, interview people from coaches. Well, I haven't touched coaches yet, but I've done trainers and players. And I want them to basically tell their story, where the love for basketball came from. Just because I try to promote this, the podcast to people who are heavily involved with basketball culture, but also I hope a lot of players eventually get to listen to it and then hopefully maybe inspire the next either trainer, next best basketball player, women's or men's side, just anybody that loves the game. You know what I'm saying? So let's start with that. Let's start with your origin story, and where you came from, upbringing, and then how did basketball come into your life and when you fell in love with it?
Okay. Dang, that's loaded, bro. It's loaded. Because now we're talking as a player too. So started playing 6.5. I didn't have no hoop in the beginning. My mom just brought me basketball from a garage sale. So I was just working on my handle all the time in a driveway because we lived in an apartment building. And so that was 6.5. And then by 8th grade, I think I was about 12 then. By 8th grade, I think I got on my first team then, playing CYO then. There was no AAU, Catholic Youth Organization, in upstate New York. And I had handle. I was good. I was naturally a shooter. And I ended up becoming a good player in high school. I went on to play JUCO 1 year, fast forward past high school, and I bounced around to a lot of schools. And basically, I just had some family problems. I just had a rough upbringing, I guess you could say. And as a result of that, even though I didn't play at all these schools I bounced around to, the clock was ticking because I was a full-time student. Right. So by the time I finished playing my first year of JUCO, I had a D2 scholarship offer in North Carolina, and I had 1 semester left to play because I bounced around so much. Yeah. Damn. It was nuts. Yeah. So, long story short, a counselor of mine was just joking around and said, you should look into another country. And then he just stopped and he was like, oh, wow, I said this to the wrong person. And so I started looking into Canada. And so me and a friend of mine that was leaving the D2 school, a 6'7" kid, he was down to, explore Canada and see what options there were. So we finally ended up at a private Christian school called Redeemer in the city of Hamilton. That's like only 2 hours away from Rochester. So they had no history at all of being good. But we were just thinking, let's pioneer something new. And lo and behold, I coach there now, and we really did, because my last year playing there, I finished playing my eligibility there. My last year playing there, actually, take that back. My second to last year playing there, we were part of the first playoff team in history. Yeah. So that's something, that I definitely am proud of. And now I coach there, and we've been nationally ranked in Canada for like the past 3-4 years.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. So we were really trying to do some Remember the Titans type of stuff. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, and that's how I ended up in Canada. So it was only 2 hours away from home. School was way cheaper, way cheaper. It's like a third of the cost. And we were getting some partial scholarship money. So it was a no-brainer, you know.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. You're talking about journeyman. Like, I'm sitting here, I clown a lot of my players. I'm like, oh, you another journeyman? Because, you know, dudes think they're nice. So they bounce around from school to school to school. That really wasn't me. I was just trying to find a home.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wasn't one of those dudes who constantly had an excuse or something. So, but yeah, bro, I have a very unique story when it comes to that in its own way, because going from the States, bounce around the schools to Canada, and now I live there.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, like, I mean, I don't. You can get into it or not, but like, what kind of? I mean, bouncing around so much must have taken a little bit of a toll on you. What kind of kept you going?
Yeah, for sure. No, it did. It did. And I wasn't like, in the beginning, I wasn't trying to play basketball because so basically, you know, my mother had passed. That's what happened like right before I turned 20. So at that time, my head was just messed up, and I was just thinking she would want me to be in school. So I had a girl that I've been with for a while. She lived in New York City, and we were trying to find a spot. So I bounced from a local community college to another college, you know what I mean? And then we eventually ended up together somewhere in the middle line, you know what I mean?
Right.
At a school called Herkimer.
Okay.
So I didn't play there either. I was just trying to. It was tough, but it was just really tough times, really,
right,
regardless.
Sure.
So yeah, and then finally I ended up playing 1 year of JUCO at Morrisville. Or I'm sorry, not even Morrisville. At Adirondack. Been so long. I went to Morrisville too. Yeah, so yeah, man.
That's tough.
Yeah. Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And that's when I got tight with the Fredette family, and that's when Jimmer was still in high school, and TJ Fredette's older brother. That's my brother. So
See, I didn't know that. So like, yeah, go into that. Is that like was that like the start of just a friendship, or did you start? Were you training with him, or how was that? How was that?
That was a friendship, right. And then eventually got in the gym with him too, which is a great start to your career. Right. And we used to just be at his high school games. We used to like he used to always chill with his older brother's friends and stuff. So we crossed each other's paths a bunch of times, open gym, stuff like that. So we were always pretty cool. But then eventually I got in the gym with him, and it was definitely a learning experience at the time, because he became a lottery pick, you know what I mean? And you just saw, sometimes you just think to yourself, if you've never trained anybody that's been in the league or that's been at high levels, you're not really sure what it takes, you know what I mean? And you saw someone in the gym that was nice, but you would have never thought he could have went that far, you know what I mean? And then him coming back and just teaching me a few things here and there, just picking up little things, something as simple as, yo, Jimmer, why did you stop jumping on your three ball? Because he used to jump high on his shot. He was a jump shooter. And when he got into the league, he stopped. And it was simply, they're freaks in the league, and it's a slower shot when you jump on your shot. I would have never thought that at that time. I was like, what? But it's true. And when you look at all the top shooters, they just get it off, jumping in the air, doing all that. It takes longer, right? Hanging in the air. There's very few jump shooters that are smaller guards.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I never thought of it like that. Like Steph, Kyrie.
Yeah.
The only time they elevate is when they like fade away. That's really it.
Right. Or it's like maybe like mid-range where someone's on your hip or something like that. And that's like a stop on the dime type of thing. But like to jump like and try to like release at the top of your peak, man, only Ben Gordon was doing that. That was like a lights out shooter.
Ben Gordon, well, Nate Robinson jumped pretty high too.
But he's not lights, like he's not
like
lights out, you know what I mean? He's not. He's a dude that can definitely shoot, but you know, I'm talking like marksman, you know.
Right. That makes
sense. Just
sense.
little things like that, man. To me, like little things like that, that's gold, because that's what I'm constantly in search for. Like that's always been my mindset. I'm searching for them little nuggets. You know what I mean? Like if I can get in the gym with Patrick Beverly, I would love that. I wouldn't even need to train him. I just want to spend an hour in the gym learning all the little tricks of the trade. You know what I mean? All the little cheat codes that he's learned along the way. To me, that's more valuable than any drill, that type of stuff. Because that's the stuff I can pass on to, you know, various players depending on the situation, level they're at, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it was basically an in. I had an in for that family, and it was a good experience, and I still keep in touch with, you know, TJ. I'm tight with him to this day, and you know, Jimmer once in a while I'll text or something like that randomly, but he's doing his thing.
Right, for sure.
But shoot, blessing to have that in and to get a start like that, right?
Right, definitely. So real quick, so then let's transition. So like right after college, what I guess what transpired? Was that the start of the training, or was that something right there? Did that plant the seed in your head, like you kind of wanted to continue with basketball?
Right. Yeah, which is another little interesting story. So I'll sum that up, but it's so.
I mean,
so when I first,
we got time. You can go into, if you want to. It's up to you. It's your story.
Now, what I'll do is I'll tell you the story. I'll let you ask questions to fill in the blanks. I think it's just easier.
Okay.
So I don't run on or whatever, because you know you can get caught in the memory.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah. So when I first transferred to the private Christian school, Redeemer, I was transferring in the middle of the year, so second half of the year. So the year after was my first full year, and that was going to be my year. You know what I mean? Like I was team captain. I had like a huge, what do you call it? Like a huge banner when you pull into the school coming down of me. Like it was my year. And first scrimmage of the year, 30 seconds in the game, I get a rebound, I'm bringing down the ball. And if you ever remember how was it Rubio? I think Rubio tore his ACL. It was like he had a knee-to-knee with when Kobe was playing, and there was a knee-to-knee. A guy reached the ball, and we had a knee-to-knee. And I didn't tear my ACL, but I actually tore my MCL. A month later in practice, I'm sitting out the whole time, so I finally come back. I tear my ACL. I plant on a cross, tear it. So that was tough. Real tough. So at that time, so I was always a gym rat. You know, people in my city knew me for working on my game more than playing in games. You know what I mean? Like that's how much they just saw me in the gym. It almost used to be a joke. Used to be like, do that in the game. Do that in nobody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So everybody used to train with me. You know what I mean? So I already had experience setting up workouts and people training with me and stuff. So what I did at Redeemer, just to give you some backstory before that injury, was I saw a program that didn't really have a foundation. And so I was just thinking to myself, like, how can things change as a competitor? So I started getting up 6 a.m. and training our team. And this was the first semester I was there, and it was continuing, right, into that next year. So that's how, like, you know what I mean? Like the culture started shaping. So around that time, I go down and my whole world shatters, you know what I mean? And I was probably as depressed as anyone ever in my life. Like I grew a beard like crazy. Like I didn't shave for months. I got skinny. Man, it looked bad. real bad. People were worried, but sanity. So there was two things that was actually like holding me together, or distracting me from my depression. It was Linsanity games, because it was just so crazy, right?
Yeah.
During that little spree.
Spree.
And then there was this one kid that I was training, and it was the first kid that I really kind of took under my wing, because I saw someone that wanted it like I did, that was always in the gym. So I was basically on crutches, and I was training him. And, you know what I mean? Like, that kid pretty much kind of saved my life, because, I mean, he didn't know it, but that's what was kind of helping me get out of the state of mind I was in. So prior to that, you know what I mean? Like my circle, my close friends, family, they're always telling me, you need to coach, you need to coach, you need to do something with all this, with your experiences, blah, blah, blah. And I always was against it. I hated it. And the reason that I did was because two things. I always thought to myself, like, every player that has fell short always ends up doing, it's like some cliche thing to do, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then, I mean, I'm not trying to get on anybody for that, you know what I mean? Because clearly I'm in that position. But that's just how I was thinking. And then I was reading all these Jordan books growing up, and Jordan used to always be like, I'm not a coach, I'm a player. And I'd be like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So it just kind of further ingrained that idea. So this was like a field that was still relatively new, especially in Canada. So the field kind of found me in a way, because it was literally life or death. I was in a bad place. You know what I mean? Like, real bad. Because it just felt like this black cloud over my head. You know, things were finally going good and just taken away from me. So, like, training kind of saved my life at the time. And then this kid ended up getting a scholarship. This high school kid, he ended up getting a full ride out to a school in Canada after high school. So that was rewarding. And then this field kind of was my own way of justifying that, yeah, sure, I'm a coach, but I'm not a regular type of coach. I'm like something off to the side. It just made me clearly, it didn't fit the description of that cliche description in my head, right? Irony is, right now, it sounds real interesting to coach a team, to be honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To really coach and have your own team. But at the time, this is how it was, because I was reluctant. So, yeah. So I was training. So I was training that kid on crutches. I was training a couple of the people from my school on crutches. And I had to go back to Rochester to get my surgery, because in Canada, I'm not covered. I'm not insured.
Right.
Which is wild. So I didn't get my surgery till the semester ended. And then I did end up coming back, but I took time off in between. And when I took time off in between, coming back to Redeemer in Canada, I decided to start my training business. And, you know, I already had a lot of connects, because everybody knows ND that's at every gym that's in the city that's working on this game. Everybody knows me, right? So it wasn't hard to be like, yo, let's come work out. You know what I mean? Work on my craft, build my resume. So yeah, man. And so by the time I ended up coming back to Canada, I already had a pretty good pro resume and a pretty good resume to start out, you know, in the beginning. And I hit the ground running in Canada, because it was still, I mean, it's new now. So it was even more new then.
Right.
There was only so many trainers, especially trainers that would train like pros. So,
wow, that's a crazy story. That's wild. No, that's an example.
Intense, yeah, bro. It's intense.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's an example of how, like, the sport, like, and like you're doing this thing for the right reason, in terms of just like, when I train people, like, I feel connected. You get what I'm saying? And you feel that fulfillment. Like you said, you helped them get a scholarship. And I feel like people in our position being able to help through the game that we love is a lot more, it has a lot more meaning and purpose for us just because it makes us feel good, and it feels like we were doing something positive, and being able to help somebody's life is huge, you know. But like it's also for you, it definitely also helps you out a lot too, just being able to help guide.
Nah, like it literally gave me purpose. Like I had nothing at that point because, like, when you're down, man. You know what I mean? You can hear all the motivational stuff you want, and you know what I mean, like having a faith in God and whatever religion may be or your spirituality, that really helps. But at the same time, just be honest, it wasn't helping for me at the time. Nothing was. So it really, really found me, man. Like if there's ever a sign, I mean, that is God in his own way, right? If there was ever a sign, that was a sign right there.
Completely agree with that.
So yeah, it's pretty nuts. And so like right off the bat in Canada, I was training, some of the top pros in Ontario. And I mean, I was fortunate, you know what I mean, that they'll give me a shot and then I handle business. You know what I mean? Because I've been pretty much preparing my whole life. Like I said, more time, I'm known for being in the gym working on my game than playing. Like people, might give you my props and say he could ball, but at the same time, there's always this, like this what you want to call it, perception of me that like he's a workout guy, which drove me nuts. I hated it. I got to a point I didn't even want to work out in front of people.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I totally, that would get me mad because you're a hooper. You get what I'm saying? Like you're working out to play. You're working out to be good, to hoop, and you say like I can beat you. So
yeah, I mean, like it wasn't completely unwarranted, but at the same time, it wasn't accurate. It's just I can't blame people for thinking that when they haven't seen you do enough of that translate and you be in good situations. But it's just not like that.
Right.
It's a simple formula, and I learned it the hard way. It's X amount of hours in the gym doing the right thing, and then X amount of games, like officiated games, and then good coaching will really put that over the top. But just the X amount of games in itself will translate into skill plus games, feel. So, which I had, but the coaching I was missing, and experience, man.
Yeah, for sure. And coaching's that's a hit or miss with a lot of places. It's
Yeah.
I respect coaches for what they do, but it's also a very, very difficult job. And I literally I tweeted about it today. I tweeted about it today. I'd rather be a trainer. One of the reasons why I prefer being a trainer is because I can actually care about an individual. Like as a coach, you can care about an individual, but you also have to care about the team dynamic. And how mentally you have to tell that kid this is where you are in that team dynamic, which can mess them up further, in my opinion. So
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And we've all had those times where we think to ourselves, like, I could do a better job than such and such. Like, but man, talk is cheap. When you really start coaching, there's just so many variables. It's just ridiculous. You might think you have everything on lock, and then your rotation, someone's criticizing your rotations, and they might have some, some good reason to. It's just so many things, right? And then people don't even think about the fact that you're an organizer. You have to organize the trips. You have to organize when people are eating, when we're going to stop on the bus trip. It's so many things, man.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I wanted to do it.
It's ridiculous. I got.
No, sorry. I was saying I wanted to do it, but I just thought that it's one of those things, especially in the States, like NCAA, like you got to start at the bottom, do a lot of, and I've been doing that my whole life, fighting my way try to get into the top. And I thought with the wealth of knowledge background I can sneak in as an assistant coach, that maybe not the lowest one, but I mean, not like the lowest possible coaching job, or maybe one above that. But you have to even go below that to get your foot in the door.
Yeah, man. Some coaches are assistant coaching for 20 years before they finally get their break. It's crazy. It's a grind.
It's a grind, and I respect that. And it's like you said, it's just difficult. But so let's get into training now. So we got through all that, which was an amazing story, and like that's something I definitely will like think about later and see. Like I'm gonna clip some of this and maybe put on Instagram, just like because that's an amazing story, bro. And like you've come a long way, and you're making an impact. So now in terms of training, like what is I guess let's start with the different things. So like training, what's your philosophy? What is your, like, I guess with basketball playing, right? We have superpowers. What would you say your biggest strength is as a trainer? And then obviously your philosophy.
Okay. So this might sound crazy. I would say one of my biggest strengths is my philosophy on basketball, and not even on training, on basketball. Like,
that's interesting.
And we'll get into that. I'll explain that. But like the way I see the game, I think helps me tremendously. You know what I mean? And quick example, like I'll explain the full thing, but just a quick example is like I see a lot of our point guards today, and I study the game from the past, and what I saw the trend going in is I call them JPGs, Jack and point guards. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think the skill is amazing. What they could do is on a whole different level. But I think I understand winning better than a lot of trainers. Or if I don't, maybe I just apply what I know more, or I study it more. I don't know what it is. But the way I train is, first of all, I teach shooters. That's one of my superpowers that I hold on to very, very strongly. Like, I don't think it's anything special. I just think I've just put so much time into studying it and applying it, applying what I've studied and what I've learned. And I've been very fortunate to probably work with 5 to 6 of the best shooters in the world.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's pretty nuts, right? So you go in the lab, you're mixing potions, you know what I mean? You're trying to come up with the best chemistry, and then boom, now you get to look at, in real time, someone that is on Clay's level, and that's actually worked out with Clay and proven that he's on that level. You know what I mean? Yeah. Someone that Jerry Stackhouse thinks is a better shooter than Steph Curry, which is wild, but it tells you something about what level that shooter is on. You know what I mean? Just for Jerry Stackhouse to even say that. Like, so
that's crazy.
Shooting is a big thing. And then to go back to the whole philosophy thing, I'm not that impressed. I think that helps me. Honestly, I think that gives me an edge. I don't really think that many dudes are good. And let me explain. It's not that I can easily be called a hater, right? Like, this is easily could be like, right? But it's not that dudes are like sweating other players and they're in awe. I think sometimes they are, but it's not necessarily that. But it's, if you're not that impressed with somebody, I think you're more able to be more critical and pick apart their game. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in awe, you're just happy to be working them out. You know what I mean? And you're just happy to have them on your team. Where if I'm not that impressed, and I rarely am, even if I was, it wouldn't really, I wouldn't really probably let that get to my head. But I'm worried about my reputation more than anything. I'm worried about my reputation and making guys better. If I can't make you better, if I can't help you, then it really doesn't matter if I kept you as a client, if I didn't really take you to the next level. So I don't pull any punches. I'm honest with guys. I'm basically labeled the hater. I'm your resident hater many times, but I think that gives me a huge advantage, man. Because in the end of the day, none of my players can't say I don't deeply, deeply care about them, and I don't tell them the ugly truth. You know. So, well, let me say that we've all made mistakes. I'm sure I haven't at some point,
Yeah.
but for the most part, you know what I mean. But yeah, I the way I train is it's shooting, and then it's about teaching winners, right? And when it comes to teaching winners, there's a bunch of things that fall under the umbrella. But very first thing would be your role. Like, so whether that's me helping somebody define their role or helping them progress in their role until they can expand out of that.
Right.
Right.
I like that you brought that up, that role part. It's just like, I mean, there's that philosophy. I mean, I've been kind of not raised on it, but like as I've became a full-time trainer, it's like I think there's different levels to training, right? Especially when with younger players, you can kind of train them as a whole, like their whole game. As you progress in terms to get to the college level and pro game, not everyone's going to be like a Steph Curry. They're not going to get all those shots. Their role is to, they'll have to drive and finish at the hoop and defend, like a two-way player, or shoot 3-and-D kind of, they have that role, like you said. So you have to kind of cater the workout to that role so they can excel at it. And then maybe, like you said, they can grow out of it because they put in so much work.
Exactly. And it's like, don't get me wrong, we can get real technical, and I do go there. I go there quite a bit. But to me, it's really, really important. I don't care how technical you get. If you're training someone to be a loser, if you're training him to be a loser, what I mean is you're training bad habits that's going to sit them on the bench, that's not going to help them in this stage of their career for whatever role they're in, and they're going to win less games. And if you're not winning, you're just another dude. And I tell my players all the time, like, you just the average girl in the club. Is that what you are? Because if you go to the club every week, you're going to see a couple of the same girls or same dudes every time. You the average, you the basic. You a basic person, or you a different type of player? Like, it's the be different category, right? So I care about making guys different. And I have a whole bunch of things I train under that be different category, right? And be different is essentially just training guys to be winners, training guys to be excellent role players. I want my ideal is a guy that I can train and he can be the first option on the team, or he could be the fourth, and you still don't lose any value from him. Those to me are the most valuable type of guys, because they can be in so many different situations and they fit in seamlessly, and they're always going to help a team win, right? Like, you take Manu Ginobili in his prime, where can't you put him? You can put him anywhere.
You really could.
He's going to fit in somewhere. He's going to make it work. You want to bring him off the bench? Sure. You want to start him? Sure. You want him to be the one he could pass? Crazy, right? And so I'm really, really trying to instill my vision of the game more than drills or moves.
I respect that. I like that. I do like that. And like watching you, I've been so it's funny, we unintentionally met back when the CBL was created. You trained Kojo. He just started his own training business, to be honest, wherever he's at. He literally just started this. It's actually funny.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I literally, like, probably, bro, like, to be honest, I think it happened like last week. Just started. I saw you training, and I was just like, who's this guy? I mean, I had no idea who you were. I didn't even introduce myself. And then, 3 years later, now I see you here in Connecticut. I'm like, wait, didn't didn't I know it? So I had to go up and ask you, and you're like, yeah, that's where I stay at. And it's kind of crazy. But the one thing I can say, dude, like your style of watching you train Khalil, you're very one, obviously you're very passionate. Two, your style is very unique compared to, and when we get into this with your thoughts on today's training, in our training society, and it's very unique, and I can definitely see why you help players get results, because it's very intense, it's well thought out, and you explain to them the situation and this, that, and the third, and you break it down, and you have that conversation. You're able to answer the question if their player has that. I mean, obviously, I'm just going off of limited, views, but he would ask you a question, you're able to answer it, and then you guys have that conversation.
That dialogue is critical.
Yeah,
it's critical.
And so, I'm just complimenting you on how you go about your business. So it's like I'm sitting there as I think taking notes on how I can grab some of that, splash it in my game, kind of how we always do with obviously basketball players. It's the same thing with training. There's different styles, different ways to do it. And like I said, I really respect how you go about your business. So kudos to you. And now this is going to be not a controversial question, but just I'm just curious about your thoughts about today's training, not society, but the training world, basketball training world. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it?
Well, I'll say this. I'll start by saying this. Money ruins everything. You can go from the beginning of time in any field, anything. Money ruins anything. And I think that we are giving kids more tools than ever. Kids are more skilled than ever. But I think in the process of building a brand and a business and marketing, really, really, truly helping the kid kind of get sacrificed in many cases, right? So, I just think it's really capitalistic right now, right? So it's really commercial.
I really commercial. I completely agree.
Yeah. So you might have a drill that looks really good to film, and I'm not on my high horse. Even I may be guilty of this to a degree, but I'm very, very, or in the past, but I'm very, very, very conscious and thoughtful about what I put out, which is why sometimes I don't put out anything, right? I up to recently, to the recent post, I told you I hadn't posted in a year, man, because I let that anti-establishment part of me just take over. I was just so fed up, and so I'm back now. But you post something that looks real good, and you may get a lot of hits on the gram, a lot of views, a lot of comments, likes, all that stuff. But in all actuality, that drill takes mad long for no reason. You're wasting time, and it's truly not necessary.
Right.
There's a place to be innovative. I agree. And I think that it even makes more sense if you're trying to keep someone engaged. But there's a fine line there. Players have to understand that if you want to be good, you have to learn. It's what I call the process of boredom. You have to embrace boredom and continually do the same boring shit over and over again that you need to work on, right? No one wants to spot shoot all day. Well, most people can't even shoot. That's what they should be doing. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I've said this plenty of times to younger trainers in my city and in Canada now. Fortunately, I've built a reputation and built, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I've branded myself. So I've come, you know, come a little bit of ways. And now I can do things that I couldn't do when I first came to Canada. Because when you're new, just to keep players, like let's say you get a high major guy, just to keep him, you need to get into the bag work right away. Meanwhile, this kid is the dumbest player ever, the lowest IQ, poor decision maker ever. That bag work, now you're giving a kid more tools and he doesn't even know how to use the ones he has, right? But why are you doing that? You're partially doing that because you're not trying to lose this player. If you were to work on what he really needs to work on, he'd get bored and he'd look at you like, why am I, you know what I mean? Why am I here? But if that same guy is training with someone that has some pedigree, that's built some pedigree, and he has something going on, he has a movement, now that player's going to put up with it. They're more likely to, right? So not saying, you know, I'm anything special or anything like that, but I'm fortunate that a lot of good players in Canada have trained with me in the past and continue to do so. So now I can work on stuff that a player would have fired me for a long time ago, and I don't care. Right? So I'm working on charges. I'm working on, like, who's working on charges, bro? Like, we need to do that, you know? We need that. But I'm working on outlet passes, full court outlet passes with no dribbles, right off the rebound, inside pivot, let it go, right? And a lot of other things that, like I said, fall under that be different category. So it's just a lot of cool videos, man. You know what I mean? And if you got a player where you're not messing his game up and you can still get in, you know, do a lot of this bag work and make a dope mix, good for you, man. I mean, clearly that's what's going on with me and Khalil. What me and Khalil do is like 1% of the players in the world can benefit from.
That's I completely agree. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, even though, like, to be honest, like, I mean, it's a accumulation of both, right? Your high IQ as a trainer, his high skill level, he's worked his ass off for that.
Yeah.
But being able to even take the two and be able to help him elevate to another level, that's still, like, it's difficult, but you got it. I'm watching, it seems like it's moving in the right direction. But it's not, you're not doing it for you know what I'm saying? You're not doing it for, so you're not doing you're doing it because he has the capability to do it at the next level, at that level.
Exactly. And even him, if you're ever sitting in our sessions, it looks way different than what you see on a mix. Because what you see on a mix is what's just cut up, and I don't even cut him up. That's all him. You know, right. He's the genius producer. Okay. But if you're watching our sessions, so much of it is exactly what our vision is for his game, right? Like where we're trying to take him to. You know, we're trying to take him to that Chauncey Billups, Trae Young, like that new age point guard. That's still a real one, though. You know, in my opinion, like Steph Curry learned how to truly be a one. He's still averaging like 20-something a game. But early in his career, he really wasn't that true one yet. It's just about how you get people involved, how you think, so many factors, right? How you make reads, don't force things. But we're trying to put him in situations that he would be in games all the time. And we're trying to build a certain mindset and get him thinking. So that's why if you ever notice when there's dialogue going on or I'm explaining something, I'm constantly, you know, edifying or reiterating. Remember, you have a shot anytime you want. You have a shot anytime. Your skill level's so high. You're such a good shooter anytime you want. But like probe, eyes, right? Trying to teach them eyes and think the game and visualize the game. To me, the greatest asset a player can have is their imagination. Right? So
completely agree with that.
So it's like when you see the mix, you just see crazy combos, and you know, you'll see some of that that game work too. You'll see a lot of that, but he just happens to look great on film. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that works business wise, of course, but I'm not doing that. People come to me all the time. They'll see Khalil's videos and they come to me thinking they're gonna get that, and they get a rude awakening. They might be working on charges for 15 minutes or something, just learning how to take the fall and push and displace the weight, and boxing out, and how to handle a cross screen properly and load that with shots at the end of a shot. Like, this is what I think is really, really missing. So I try to use my imagination as much as possible as a trainer, but it comes from a place of just constantly studying the game, being a nut job, and trying to figure out, okay, like, make different correlations in the game. Like, what do we usually see and what do we usually not see? You know? So if I'm ever at a high school game, for example, if a player does something and I'm like, whoa, I'm gonna ask myself, this is just the way I think, why did I say whoa? Why? Was it like just a good move, or is it something very simple he did that no one does no more? You know what I'm saying? And then I'm gonna write that down. That's back into my be different category. So yeah, you know, I can't blame the game for where it's going, because I don't know what people's true objectives are. To me, there's two ways in this game. There's two lanes, and maybe there's more, you know what I mean? But two things that I can think of is, like, either you're hustling and you're trying to make money, which, you know, it might sound bad, but it's glorified babysitting to me. But you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to make a lot of money. But it is, because basically you're going to be doing tons of camps, tons of clinics, and you're just going to, you know, be working out pretty much a soccer mom kids, which is fine. Or you can be a technician. And to me, being a technician is the road less traveled. It's much tougher. You don't get as much money, not nearly as much, but those guys are really, really trying to refine their craft constantly, really help players, and, you know, and move up constantly, like move up in the ladder in terms of the level of players they're training. That's at least how my mindset is. So
No, for sure. I totally agree with that. Like, you know, like, that's why I brought that up. It's just, I actually posted two videos today. So my one guy that I train, he's in the G League, but he's out in Philly, and I met this trainer a couple years back, and he's a good dude, one of the good guys in the game. And, like, I hit him up. I'm like, hey, since he's there, he's told me you guys have worked out. I'm like, let's team up together. Whenever you're in the gym, this is kind of like what he needs to get done. We got to figure out, we want to help him provide his opportunity to maybe get a call up to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? And then there was another dude I posted today who actually, you know, cares about the kids, and he's like putting in the work, whatever, this, that, and third. And like you said, like, there's a different level. There's guys who can understand, like, hey, yeah, I can just train and make a lot of money, like you said, big camps, all this stuff. Or you can be somebody who's really studying the game, really caring about seeing development and developing them to the point where they can progress forward with their career, and understand as well that it may not be with just you. There can be other people out, another trainer that can help him or her add something to their game that you're not a specialty with. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, like I used to be a Nas fan. I'm an old head. I'm 36. I used to be a Nas fan more than Jay-Z back in the day. I grew up on both of them. But in my opinion, I had an epiphany at some point, like in my, I don't know, mid-20s or something, where I was like, man, Jay-Z it's night and day better to me. Like, skillfully, sure, it's not night and day, but Jay-Z learned how to straddle that line. Like, I can be at a party and I'm not going to get tired of Jay-Z. I can be sitting in my room just wanting to hear something deep. I'm not going to get tired of Jay-Z. So he's a hustler. So what I'm saying with that is I'm not mad at the Gannon Bakers or whoever the commercial trainers are. They're hustling, man. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what their objective is, you know what I mean? But they're hustling, right? So Jay-Z even said once, like in a line, I forgot how it went, but he was basically saying like how he admires common sense because common sense could rap. But he was like, but I made 5 mil. I'm not trying to rhyme like common sense. Like he kept it real. He's like, I can't try to compare myself to those type of dudes. I'm in a different lane. So by all means, hustle. You know, do what you got to do. But it's just some of these guys that try to act like I don't know, they're foremost experts in the game when they clearly just been hustling the whole time, right? So, sure, you can have a voice. Anybody can have a voice, but at the end of the day, you have influence, right? So,
that's
how do you affect the game? To me, I really care about the game tremendously, and it's like I care about the direction the game's going in, how it's changed over the years, where I think it's headed. Like I've had arguments with agents that are like looking at me like, what? That's not gonna put any money in your pocket. I'm like, well, you're an agent. You wouldn't understand. Like I'm a purist. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why I'm not as good of a businessman as the others. But that's my challenge, right? And some actually do a great job. I guess you could say there's 3 lanes. A few people are straddling that line, right?
right.
One of them is my boy that I grew up with, Tyler Rao. I mean, me and him, I've criticized him before and some of the stuff he does, but at the same time, he deserves his credit, like because he's still moving his way up as a technician and taken seriously as a technician. So, yeah, man, that's the goal. I think guys like me, or like that are purists and that really care about the game. Naturally, they struggle on the business end because their mind isn't there. So I think the key is always that balance, because what good is having all this care and having all this knowledge if you have no influence, man? You know what I'm saying? So basically, all the dudes that are climbing up to the top are the dudes that really don't care as much and really haven't even studied the game as much. Like, and you're going to let them have the influence? Doesn't make sense. So
completely agree.
So that's my challenge, and I would say that should be everybody's challenge. That really cares. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be that part in your mind. It's like, man, I'm not trying to sell out, but you got to get over your own pride. Sometimes you might accidentally sell out. You know, be like, that post was some bullshit, wasn't it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. Unfortunately, like you said, it's that balance. It's a hard line to straddle. Like I literally I had something done the other day. You saw the kid today. I had a little video of him.
Yeah.
I did a little promo video because I'm new to the gym. So my idea is like, all right, I have this kid. He looks all right on camera. Promote it in the area. Hopefully it brings more, views or people or eyes, questions to that gym. So I can potentially be able to train more people, which then leads to me being able to make more money and able to sustain myself here.
Exactly. Like what good is it if you can't sustain yourself? Then you're not going to be able to help no other kids. You're not going to be able to spread the good word, right? So, you do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. So I get it. I get it. It's just I just think that we just need to all be more conscious in the industry. You know what I mean? Speaking like generally of what messages we're sending kids.
No, for sure. I mean, the one issue I have right now is like I really want to do a whole post on it. Is like, are you guys serious? Are you hoopers really serious about hooping, or you just want to be famous on social media? Because you see all these basketball players that just get all the recognition. You see them living this life. I literally talked to one of the girls I train, and she's like constantly questioning herself. because she's being exposed to this stuff on social media. And I'm like, you got to stop doing that. Like, you got to worry about what you can control, which is work on your game every day and keep playing. Try to your best ability, even with everything going on. Find ways to get better. I'm here as a resource to help you find ways to get better. Whether she just asked for defensive drills, so now I got to go write up something for her and try to find a video or make a video for her to start practicing. So but like I said, it's that social media influence just kind of bothers me a lot.
Yeah, because it's not real, man. It's not real. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see tons of mixtape players, and it's like, where are they now? Right? Like, and how good were they in the first place? You know what I mean? So you look them up and you look up their stats when they finally went to school, you know, whatever Division I school they were at, and they're like, they're not that good at all, right? So it's a struggle, man. And it's like, I didn't grow up having social media, and it almost makes me think sometimes, like, man, like, these kids, like, I don't even fully know what they're going through, because that's all they've ever had. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like back in the day, if like a pro was being taped, he might not like that. He might be like, yo, you know, he wants to keep it on the low and everything like that. Or you might have to ask him and be like, are you cool with this? Now, it would be offensive to an elite player if you asked him if he's cool with this. He'd be like, what? You just tape. You don't even ask most of the time. You know what I'm saying? They'll look at you like, what are you talking about? Because they want that. They want more material out that they can post. They want fresh things. So it's like everybody's a brand now, and these kids have so much more going on in their heads than winning and becoming a good player, man.
That's the issue.
You're seeing everybody getting signed and stuff, and now you're thinking about exposure, and you're in 9th grade. What?
You got time.
Bro, yeah, you got time, and you're not even good. What are you talking about? Exposure?
Focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah, and that goes back to the whole money thing, man. It's capitalism. You know what I mean? Slowly, we're monetizing every little thing. How many exposure events do we have now? Oh, my God. It's ridiculous.
And it actually helped, though. That's the worst part.
Yeah, what? At best, a lot of these exposure events, you know, like, there's some people who really care. Don't get me wrong. You know, I have some people in Canada, I believe they really care. But, like, come on, man. You're helping kids go to junior college at best. And that's like a couple, 1, 2.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just a lot of smoke and mirrors, man. There's just a lot of smoke and mirrors. So my hardest job sometimes, and I think any of our jobs as coaches or trainers, is trying to keep the kids' mind in the right spot, on the right place. And trying to constantly convince them, like, bro, that means nothing. Like, you're talking about this guy, you think, oh, because he got interest, that means something? That's interest, bro. It means nothing. And just because he posted on the gram, oh, you think this other kid who posted my top 10, you think half of those schools really offered him? That was bogus. They didn't even offer him. They posted top 10, and just because his organization has juice, his AU organization, the D1 schools are letting it rock without saying anything.
Yeah, bro.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, it's like
you know what I'm saying?
It's that game. Like, it's unfortunate. Like, I remember, like, YouTube came out in like 2006. My thing. So here's my thing. Where I'm thinking right now, I'm thinking like, social media's kind of hurt the game that way. But there's so many free drills people have been posting. I post drills every day, even the like little step-by-step stuff and whatever. How many of these kids actually look at it and try it? And it bothers me because, you know, we didn't have that, you know, coming up. We didn't have all this, the free access to all this stuff. And I kid you not, if I had something like this and somebody was posting drills, I would be trying any of them to see if it actually helps my game. You get what I'm saying? It's
No,
that
for sure, man. No, for sure.
dual sword. Like, yes, it's like a distraction, but it also can be a tool. But that's up to.
But I think.
Go ahead.
No, finish what you gotta say.
No, I'm saying like it's that dual sword, and it's just like us as trainers and coaches and stuff should be saying like, "Hey, are you working your game? If not, look at this trainer." You get what I'm saying? Or like, look at this page to help you, like, or go to see this person to help you progress. You know, but I don't hear that. I don't see that. Like,
nah, man, I'm with you, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit because I think that's important to kind of see the full perspective. My coaching friends always get on me because they swear I'm just arguing to argue. I actually agree with your side, but just to play devil's advocate, that's also a byproduct of oversaturation, isn't it? Whenever there's oversaturation of information out there, people tend to kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it's not as valued anymore. And there's so much of it that just gets missed, right? Like, how do you know what drill to pick out of all these drills? You know what I'm saying? Like, you would have to have someone telling you, and then how do you know they're doing the right thing? Because, bro, some of these kids, right? Some of these kids are using them. And kids have more handle than any time in the world. Kids got handle now. Serious handle.
Yeah.
Kids don't know what they're doing, though. They don't know what they're doing, right? So it's like, you're right. There's more resources than ever on one end, and are they really, really utilizing them? No. But on the other end, it's like, it's daunting. There's an oversaturation of information. Like, I got, some people in my circle, on my team, saying that we need to start, putting out a DVD. For what? What? Just to legitimize our company? Because that's all it's not gonna help anybody. There's enough shit out there, man. It could, but like my players, for sure, my players already know what it is. So they don't need them, right? And I really, really am a believer that it's not about drills. It's important. It's important, like, absolutely. Like, if I grew up with them, you grew up with them, if we had that, it'd be a different level. But we also, well, I'm only gonna speak for myself, but I'm sure you may not be that much different, like, because you played at a high level. We also had a foundation of the game, of understanding the game, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So once you have the foundation, then acquiring some of these tools and some of these drills can really help. But AAU, bro, and like, because of AAU, a lot of the good coaches in high school, a lot of the true GOATs that set the foundation, they kind of they don't want to coach anymore because it's like they've lost all their good players. Now they're getting guys that don't even care about the game, right? They're losing their players to prep schools or AAU or whatnot. And they're not trying to coach for no money like that, or at this point in their career, right? So now, like, the coaching is lost, the coaching foundation. So it's like, to me, I'm more worried about the teaching. We need to be coaches. What the hell is a trainer? Like, they're just workout guys. Are you going to make somebody sweat all day and be breathing? And then the parents, many of them don't know any difference. They're like, oh, that works for me. He's sweating. Man, you could beat anybody up. You could beat anybody up. Like, we need to help these guys get from point A to point B, right? And so much of it is also, oddly enough, is them as people. Like, developing them as people. Like, I'm not trying to be one of them trainers that be like, oh, I'm trying to develop. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's very important, but I'm not one of those trainers that put on their website, I'm just trying to develop young men as much as I am, like, basketball players. I am doing that, but my way of doing that is, bro, you want to be good? You want to be good on the court? Then learn how to be in life, because it's going to help you be good on the court. So everything I teach is through basketball. I'm like, yo, you want girls? I'm going to teach you how to get girls. But I'm going to teach you through the lessons in basketball. You want to get a good job in the future? I'm going to teach you how it is, because I always show how basketball mirrors life, right? I'm not about to be acting like I'm a saint out here. I'm a basketball nut. So I care about you deeply, and I'm going to develop you, but it's going to really stick if you have the same passion for the game that I do. So it's like, it's coaching, man. Like, be a coach, be an extension of their high school or college coach.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think so. To your point and to my point, I think because of the coaching experience, because I coached at my former high school. I was the assistant coach. I learned under the head coach at the time of the school. He's still there, who was my college coach, which is crazy, right? He was my college coach, Division I, and just unfortunately, like, that's the way like the coaching game goes. You can be in a Division I school, and then a series of events happen, and you're back down building up a program to get back to that college level. And but anyway, I learned a lot, in terms of the game and stuff. And then last year I was at a boarding school, and I was there and learning a different kind of style, but being on that coaching side, like a coach, understanding what these high level coaches want, and then implementing, like you just said, like coaching them to what the team need or the coach needs, because that'll earn them playing time, and that eventually does lead to wins, because they're doing their role at the highest level. But like I said, what makes, I think, you a really effective trainer as well, or coach, is because you have that X's and O's side, and you know what it takes to win. I don't think all these. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think all these trainers. Some of these trainers are just trainers. They probably played, but they don't know the coaching side as well. Like Jordan said, I'm a player. I'm not a coach. It's that idea. But if you're able to understand both sides,
right, and that's why many great players
aren't good coaches.
No, absolutely, and that's why many great players didn't end up being good coaches, is because it's a different mindset, right? Like, they were just so talented, and it was just all feel. Like, it was second nature many times. Like, sure, they worked hard and whatever, but it's to me, the best coaches are in many cases are the fringe guys, right? That, like, the Steve Kerr type of guys, you know what I mean? The guys who weren't like the ultra talented. They had to scrape their way into the game, right? Or if you're a point guard and you're like a crafty guard, those are the guys many times. But coaching is about communication. It's about teaching, man. It's about, more than anything, it's about people, right? So you got to get people on your side, and and that's one of my first things is, we can talk about my strengths as a trainer, but they mean nothing at all if I'm not a well-balanced person. I'm telling you right now, like, the people that were not cool in high school, they can be successful in life, but they weren't cool because socially there was some issue, right? And those guys, many times, they come into being AU coaches or trainers or what have you, and they're not good now either, because the same social, unless they got better,
right?
The same social gap is there, and they don't resonate the same. Like, any player that trains with me know I genuinely care. They know I don't pull punches. Like, I'm just being myself. I'm not making up for years that I was insignificant as a player or anything. I'm comfortable who I am. I think that really, really matters, right? Like, it's your relationship with the players. If I don't have a relationship with my guys, I can't get on them. I can't hold them accountable. It's not going to do anything, because they don't even know where I'm coming from. They don't even know how much I really care, right? So there's a lot of different angles, but like, it's about the relationship, and then it's about, like, what does it take to get them to the next level, man? What does it take to make them a better player? And in studying winning, like it's so much about, like, right now it's just like, I'm just amped to get this high major guy. I'm just amped to get this top 50 point guard. All right. You know what I mean? Are you just going to be along for the ride? Are you going to help them get to the next level? I rather lose clients or lose that player or some of those players because they didn't like the ugly truth that I was giving them, or they just didn't like the fact that I wasn't kissing their ass like everybody else. I'd rather lose them and help the majority of the other players that are sticking with me than just keep all these guys, right? Fortunately, I haven't lost too many guys, but it happens, man. It happens. Like, you got to stand for something. I just know who I am, and I feel like that is a very, very big thing. And that also contributes to me what I said in the beginning. Like, I'm not going to be in awe. I'm not in awe because I'm not just a fanboy out here. Like, it's not like that.
For sure. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, when you're comfortable with who you are and you're able to, like you said, establish that relationship, then the growth will happen. And if the player's not ready for that, then they're not ready. And so I don't think that's worth the time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like you got to be good. Like, you got to be good at your craft, but then it's like the only way to unlock that the expertise in your craft is the social aspect. And you have to learn how to get people to want to run through a wall for you, you know what I mean? And to communicate to people and to be on their level. And you can't do that without just being, it's so much of life is just being cool, man. Just being cool.
Exactly. I mean,
you ever say like, yo, I like that dude. He's a cool dude. It's just being cool. And in your job in life, like, whether you work a desk job, whatever it is, it's teamwork type of stuff.
Everything, like you said, everything you need it. Yes, you build a lot of stuff on your own. You do a lot of stuff on your own. But at the end of the day, everyone needs help. Everyone needs to work in a group. There's no one man organization or one person organization. You get what I'm saying? It involves other people in the team, and that's huge. That's huge.
I don't know too many trainers.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't remember where I was going with my statement.
Damn, man. My bad. I got you.
It's cool. Go ahead.
Nah, I was just saying I don't know too many trainers that I respect that aren't cool dudes. Even if they're a little bit different and a little bit brash or something like that, they're still authentic. And they come off well. People like them. They're cool dudes. My mentor, Jerry Powell in Long Island, he's the GOAT, man. You know what I mean? Now he can come off really brash and really tough. He's had NBA players, he's kicked NBA players out the gym. He's had pros just can't deal with him no more. But he's still going, man. He's got 3 or 4 trainers that work for him. Last time I checked, and they've been working for him. And he's got everybody in Long Island coming to him. And he's authentic and true to himself, and he cares.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, right? That's what. If you're a good person and you're authentic, people can feel that, and they feel comfortable with that. That makes them feel good, and that's huge. That's a huge component in terms of just being successful now in general, And but yeah, so we're gonna we can keep talking.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna end it with this. I'm gonna end it with a couple questions for you. Some fun stuff, little light stuff, and then obviously we'll close off. But all right, so first question. It's gonna be a little deep. All right, what's one thing you can tell yourself, your younger self? What's some advice you would give your younger self?
Can I cuss on this? No, I shouldn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say stop fucking dribbling so much, bro. Stop dribbling so much, and stop developing these bad habits. Work on passing, and watch more European ball at a young age.
I would have been Right.
That would be so big for me.
Okay.
And just get as much good coaching as possible at a young age. Like I thought I was getting decent coaching, but I just didn't know any better, right? But just seek out as much good coaching as possible.
Okay.
That would be huge because I had crazy hands.
Really
Crazy. Oh my God. Yeah, crazy. But I would also get taken out the game like at a young age. Like I'd be a starter and stuff, but I would make like everything was a highlight, instead of just blown by my guy. It had to be through the legs, behind the back, hezzy pull up or something, and sometimes I'm just dancing for no reason. And there's bad habits from just working on my game so much and playing one-on-one. And I could shoot too. I had all the skills. It was just a matter of how to put it together. You can't be an undersized two guard your whole life.
completely agree to that. That's tough. Yeah, that's the one thing I can say that I'm the best I've ever been in my life is my ball handling right now. I wasn't a good I was just a shooter, so it just kind of sucks. But anyway,
That though, that's the most important skill. So
yeah, but we were at that. It was that transition phase. It wasn't like so when I was in high school shooting. I mean, Steph Curry was at Davidson, putting up numbers, but you didn't have the players that they have now in terms of, like you said, the jacking point guards now, JPG.
Yeah.
So they don't have.
Yeah.
It wasn't big when I was in high school into college, so it wasn't. Now it's normal, So that's the evolution of the game, though.
For sure.
All right. So another question: who's your favorite player to watch?
Okay. So I have my favorite players to watch as a fan of the game, and then I have my favorite players that I like to reference my players to, right? If we're just talking about having fun watching people play, Steph Curry and Kyrie, I got to be at the top of the list. Everything's a highlight. It's like oohs and ahs the whole time, especially Kyrie. If we're talking about players that I'm like referencing that I think a lot of these guys are freaks in the NBA. So the ones that you can relate to usually are like more the fringe guys, right? So I like to really, really like watch those type of guys, learn from them, and then reference them all the time to my players, send them clips. So we're talking about guys like DJ Augustine, who I think is incredible.
I was a huge fan of DJ.
Incredible. We're talking about JJ Barea when he was still, in his prime, but he's still good now. But Fred VanVleet right now. And if we're talking about guys also that that a lot of guys can't relate to, but for other positions that I think are incredible is Devin Booker. I've been talking about him from day one because his IQ is on a different level, his feel, his simplicity. And then like there's also guys like Patty Mills, who's easily like another guy that could have been out the NBA a long time ago, who's a psycho on defense. He's the perfect reference for how active you need to be on defense. Psycho. And then the lights out shooter. So it's all the crafty guys, you know what I mean? Because a lot of these guys, they're normal guys, man. They're not like your John Walls and, your De'Aaron Foxes. If they're in a run, you'd be like, whoa. he's around my side, Yeah. And they just straight up got game. So those type of guys, I'm big on.
Got it. I'm interested. What career path, what's another career path you would have thought about taking besides if it was anything outside of basketball?
So I think there was two of them. But one of them for sure, I would have been a relationship counselor. Like either a psychiatrist or a relationship counselor, like a marriage counselor. My dad was a psychiatrist, and I think I was really fortunate to have like some of those genes passed into me, because I think that really helps in terms of reading people, reading character, understanding people that are going through things, and yeah, in another life, I probably would have been something like that.
Got you. No, that's dope. Now, what's a favorite go-to meal?
Meal?
Yeah, meal, rare food, bro.
Oh, bro, I'm a foodie.
Yes, I like that. What we got on the menu?
Oh man, there's so many. I'm the guy that always switches it up. So I'm trying to think. I don't even know what my go-to would be.
Okay, how about this? Your 3 favorite meals.
Okay. Let me see, bro. Okay, let's go with like I like the exotic stuff, bro. I'm a foodie for real. So we can go with like some type of curry, coconut type of medley type of chicken and rice, curry, coconut, something like that.
Wow.
I'm one of those dudes. I like the crazy flavors.
Stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So that would be one. The classic steak and mashed potatoes and some type of vegetables. That's just a dope meal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Even though, man, I hate to say it, but I think as I get older, I'm transitioning closer and closer to being a vegan, even though I don't know how I'm going to do that. But I'll go with the classic for the second one. And the third one, what do they call those bowls? You ever heard of a poke bowl?
No, I've heard of it. Yes, I actually have heard of it.
I told you, I'm the exotic dude. So it's basically like, I think it's Hawaiian, like originated, but they have all these vegetables that are good for you, or all this stuff. You might have like avocado, noodles, all this crazy stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need
that. Whatever, all in this little bowl, and it's healthy.
Yeah,
it's good, because I am a dude that appreciates healthy food. But bro, don't get it twisted. Like steak subs, like like meatballs and pasta, like everything. I do it all.
Yeah, I definitely I need to take a trip with you to go try some food, man. It sounds good.
Shit, let's do it. Let's do it while I'm still here, man.
Facts, the coconut chicken curry, like that sounds.
I actually found a dish like that here, like this past week.
In Hartford?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maggie McFly's, bro.
It's a Caribbean spot or something? Or
no, they just have mad different things. Like, not even, no.
Wow.
It's just amazing. And it's with rice too. It's shrimp and chicken.
I'm not a shrimp guy, but I still, that sounds good though.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. All right. And then, so last question. Who do you think would win the NBA championship this year? If, let's say, let's go this. Let's do 2 scenarios. No COVID and with COVID.
No COVID? I like the Clips. No COVID. But with COVID, I think continuity plays a role in terms of, like, I think the Clips have to have more continuity than the Lakers do, if you're just asking me.
Right.
I think they need to learn how to figure it out in a bunch of different situations, a bunch of different ways in the playoffs. But I'll take the Lakers with COVID when there's only so many games, and you got to rely on your big dogs, and you got to rely on someone like LeBron is going to make sure everybody's in the right places, right? And you got to rely on experience, right? So you got Anthony Davis, who I believe is top 5 player in the NBA easy. And then You got one of the greatest floor generals ever, who's still a monster, and he's 6'8", doing everything, right? Running the show, making sure everybody's in the right places. Got to be a top 3 communicator in the game. Easy. So I'll take the Lake Show. I'll take the Lake Show. But I think the Raptors are going to be really good because they have that continuity coming from last year.
Right.
So they just already have that. And they have everybody that knows their role. They have a bunch of guys that are going to be playing hard. But, like, yeah, I'll take the Lake Show, bro.
Got you.
But one thing you got to take into account is, and I'm not up on this because it's just hard to remember, is who's playing and who's not.
I forgot about that too.
So I don't even like I'm on the feed and I'm seeing it, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
No, I think, to be honest, the team that has the best, on paper, would probably be the Lakers, because they signed a couple of players. Like Avery Bradley said he's going to sit out, but they signed JR, and they just added Dion Waiters before shit hit the fan. So they have their their makeup there.
That's crazy to get.
Yeah, man. So it's but no, I think those are good picks. If for me, I think the Lakers would take it, but I don't even know, because I don't know if you heard. Supposedly, Westbrook has in quarantine right now because he got tested positive.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
And then I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw it might have been fake, but James Harden.
I don't know.
So now it's like, when you have 2 superstars like that out, like, it puts a lot of things in question. So
I know. I'll just be happy to watch some games again.
Facts.
Having basketball withdrawals, man.
Yes, it's tough right now, man. It's tough right now, but no, for real. Thank you for taking this time to talk on the podcast. Really appreciate it. For you guys who are watching, please watch, like, comment, subscribe. Follow him on Instagram. Is it BST work?
It's BST basketball. Stands for
B-ball.
Stands for Blood, Sweat, and Tears basketball. That's mine.
I totally forgot in the intro to mention that. I will do that on the podcast, on the YouTube.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure I get that done. But all right, bro, I'm gonna let you go. You gotta wake up early, right? Get in session in the gym.
7 a.m.
7 a.m. So it's midnight right now, 12:30. So go get some rest. Appreciate your time. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And then keep grinding. Stay safe. Stay blessed. No days off.
Appreciate you. Thanks.